Greetings and welcome back to the lab. We're going to do something a little bit different this time. I'm still working on the Stealth Light project, and that will all be mostly in one video, but I ran into a problem and I just wanted to do a bit of a repair video, a bit of a diagnosis to try and figure out what happened here. Now, I got everything together and I noticed first that, well, actually what happened was I plugged in the wrong polarity, and I think I blew out at least one of the infrared LEDs. So I need to check all of those infrared LEDs. Oops, I think I actually have this upside down. Okay, that's right side up now. The infrared LEDs, I think I blew one of them out up on the top row of the two rows that there are for the infrared. So the simplest way to test those out is to grab a button cell and just run through them one by one. You just got to get the polarity right. And I think, oh, sorry, that's actually, let's see if I can get this to turn on. Oh, yeah, okay, that one's still good. There's one way down here. So I don't know how well that's going to come through, and if this takes me too long, I'll just jump forward here. First one's okay. Let's go back and do that again. First one's okay. Just got to get the angle right with this battery. Okay, the second one's okay. Third one's okay. Fourth one just flickered. Okay, how about 5? 5 is good. 6 is good. And there's only 7 of the 9 here because when I did the design, I thought 9 was going to work. Interesting. It looks like some of them are dimmer than others. I'm not sure what to make of that, but it looks like all of the infrared LEDs along this line are working. So I could have misinterpreted it, and when I was looking at it, when I hooked it up and tried to get it to work, it may have been this row. I may have had it upside down. So let me check those real quick. Yep, that's 1, that's 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I saw 5 flicker. 6, 7. Okay, so I'm just dragging the battery back and forth, but knowing that this is the negative side and the bigger area is the positive side, and that there's that little gap in between, so I'm just bridging these across, and as long as you get the polarity in the right direction, you should be able to check. Now, just to sort of demonstrate that a little bit more concretely, let's go with the white LEDs. As I need to check these anyway. Okay, that's good. So far it's starting to look like it might be more of a resistor problem than an LED problem. There we go. Yep, that's good there. Ooh, this one's not. Maybe, maybe not. Let me see if I can't do this with the other hand. All I need is for it to just flash for a moment, then I know the LED is okay. Huh. That one is not being helpful. So let me pop this LED off, and we'll be able to test it separately. It'll have longer leads once I get it off. So I'm going to do that, and I'll be right back. Alright, that's one tiny little bugger. Let's see how this is going to work. Fortunately, I have a couple of spares. And, oh, it lights up. So that's not the issue. Though I do now have one missing. So I'm going to try and clean that up a bit, so I can actually either stick this one back through there again or put another one, and then we're going to go on to the resistors. So I'll be right back again. Okay, that took care of that. So let's put the old one back in. Now the fun part is remembering which side's which. So I'm going to use the battery to determine the polarity of the LED, because this thing is a 3mm flat top. It's really kind of tiny. And so now I know where the plus is. I gotta try and put that back in there. Alright, that puppy's back in. Now let's see if it could be the resistors that are causing the problem. Now, the way I have this board laid out, if I want this top row here, I called it LED C1 for color 1, and the so there should, this resistor here is probably LED C1, so it's going to be C1A, I should say, and then C1B, C2A, C2B, C3A, C3B, and so there's one resistor for each. These were, if I remember right, 62 ohm resistors. So what I can do is I'm going to lift, you know what, let's just actually plug in some power. Let me find my lead. Here we go, I found my lead. In fact, actually I'm not going to plug it in just yet, because I'm going to put this on here and get some power going for this thing, so I can see if the white LEDs are really a problem or not. Now I need my little screwdriver to try and screw my temporary power in there. Now what I did was, outside I replaced this faulty one with another one that I built, so I'll be able to continue to do testing and see if I've got the spacing between the fixtures correct, and how much spread I get on the infrared. That's one of the key problems that I'm having at the moment, but we're getting really close. Alright, this is going to get bright. Interesting. Only the right side. How can that be? I hooked it up in the right order. Well, the obvious question some people are going to have, and I'm kind of wondering myself, is there are two connectors here. They're actually supposed to pass through. I wonder if we're having a problem with that. I do have some bodge wires available if it comes down to that, but it makes me think I need to change the layout on this particular circuit board to make beefier connections between. If that's all it is, I can bodge this pretty easily to keep the existing ones working. Now if the power is running through but there's something wrong on this side, then because I'm plugged in on this side, it's still going to light up on the right side. So let's see what we get from that. Is my connector? Yes, my connector's upside down. Don't force it in. It's kind of what happened before. Kind of. Interesting. Now I get these two. So there's somehow a separation between the two sides. That is really curious. And it's possible that I soldered in this extra one the wrong direction. So I'm not going to worry too much about the top. Oh, I just got it to pop on. That's got to just be a loose solder connection then. So let's go after that real quick. My eyes are a bit dazzled at the moment, so I'm going to need to bring my magnifier back in. Let's see what I can see. It could just be a bad solder joint, or multiple bad solder joints that are causing all these problems. So we will reflow that a bit. Don't want to do too much too fast because could pop that right back out again. Let me get the next one. Just reflow that a bit. Then I can come back and not worry as much about it popping out on me. We'll try that. That does not look beautiful, but hopefully it's functional. Alright, let's try to plug this in the right way. See if it just comes on now. Okay, we got all of those. Now the tricky part is, can I see the infrared at all? It almost looks like it could be working, at least those first few infrared. So the other thing I can do to test that is, since there's a resistor that controls each one of these, really. I know I've got the white working here and here. Why is it not connecting through? So this, let's get the voltmeter. There it is. Move this light up above and turn it off so it doesn't create so much of a glare. I have noticed that in the videos. So if I put this in continuity mode, I can check. These should be lined up. So my positive here should be connected to my positive. Let's do it the other way. There we go. Positive should be connected to positive, and negative should be hooked to negative, which it is not. Is it a solder joint problem? Let's see if that could be it. And try to reflow the solder on the negative. Need to clean my iron. And flip it over. If that's it, then when I connect the power next time, everything should light up. But somehow I have a continuity problem. Alright, let's see if we can follow the traces. This should go to here. Good. And here. Good. And that's a resistor and that's a resistor. But somehow they carry across. Okay, so it's the bottom of each resistor. Good. 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 Then why do we not have a connection here? Is it a bad connector? That's an interesting thought. So, bottom connector. The trace is actually on the top of the board. Once again, I have to go back to my light. So I can see where it's going. Okay. Looks like that's supposed to go to that LED. I'm guessing this side of the LED. No, I may be wrong on that. Okay, let me try that a little differently. That feels really loose. Let me pop that sucker off and see if this could have been part of the problem all along. Fortunately, I have spares. There we go. That connector is off. Now, in theory, negative should connect to negative. on the circuit board whether it was making it through the connector or not. And it's not making it through. So I've got a bad connection of some sort. Now that is running from there to an LED. Looks like it runs to... Interesting. Okay. To this side of the LED. That kind of makes sense. And it's not. Oh, I got the wrong one. Still. It's not. Oh, that's weird. Wait a minute. So this is going to the resistor. Yeah. This... Okay, I guess that kind of makes sense. That makes it through. Now, why doesn't it make it through here? If I connect, that'll be the top there. It's not making it to that particular LED. It looks like it should. If I remember right, all of my resistors are connected to positive, so all the grounds should be connected together without issue. And yet somehow I'm not getting a connection. Let's see, do I get a connection here or here? No. Do I get one here? All right. I'm going to have to further diagnose this, and I'll be right back. Okay, first thing I want to point out, I think I got it, but I want to point out the fact that if I zoom in post, you can see what this actually says here. It says Stealthlight 1.0. This is my first version of the Stealthlight, at least in, well, it's the Stealthlight. It's a long-term project overall, but it is the first version of the Stealthlight. Now, it's a good news, bad news thing. The good news is it's not so much a flaw in the wiring of my design. The bad news is I ran one of the traces way too close to this mounting hole, so when I mounted it, I actually cut, there's a trace that runs, let me flip it back over again, that runs just under the hole, and it's within the tolerances for clearance for the design rule checking and all the rest of that stuff. So it's free and clear on that, but if you happen to cut a little bit of the board right there, you end up cutting the trace. So what I need to do is in the next version of this, which eventually I'll release this circuit board for other people to use, I will have to move that trace a little bit more carefully so that it doesn't have that problem. Now, one of the problems with that is that I use an auto trace, an auto routing program to figure out where to run all of the traces here. Otherwise, it would just take forever for me to figure it out manually. So I will do that, and if a trace runs too close to a hole, I've learned my lesson now, then I should make sure that it moves. I can manually move it just slightly after the auto route. So I'll take care of that. Now let's pull the meter back in. We'll set it up on continuity, and I put a bodge wire on the back here. So let's see if that now connects negative to negative. Well, first of all, okay, we know that's working. We're connected. That was the problem. So now I can put this connector back on because there's nothing wrong with it. And that'll be it. That should get it up and running. So I'm going to do that real quick, and then I'll come back and show you the finished product. All right, now if I haven't melted the connector, at least the bodge wire should hold, and we should be able to power up the whole thing. Whew! Okay, that is so bright, it's hard for me to look at what I'm doing right after it. But I do want to actually test the other side and make sure that I can connect the power on the other side so I have my pass-through. Because ultimately, I'd like to be able to use this in a daisy chain formation, so I can have another one of these boards to the left or to the right, and they'll be carrying the power through. So it's just using the power that it needs, passing the rest of it through. As long as you don't pull too much power, the traces on the board should be okay. And I want to actually improve that in the next version of this design. Plus I have one more idea, which I'll show you in a moment. And like I said, it kind of messes with my vision to do that. Let's see if I can just get one of them in there right now. That one seems okay. Will it turn? Yep, it still clamps. It's the same connector. I just had to use a bit more heat to get it back on. More than I would have liked. Probably should have just put a fresh connector on there, but I'm being cheap about it. Let's see. So I've done that right. And let's make sure we've got the polarity hooked up right. Yep. Because that's where all of the problems kind of started. And let's find our connector, and here comes the light, I hope. Woo! Alright, I'll bet you that was the problem. And now I have a third, plus I have a fourth that only has the white LEDs on it. But that was the idea, was to get this fixed. So we've succeeded in, I'm pretty sure, fixing it. I can't really check the infrared. Well, I can, but what it involves is disconnecting all of these resistors for the color LEDs, the white LEDs, disconnecting all of these resistors temporarily so that I can actually, it disables all of the visible LEDs so I can see the infrared. But the problem is then trying to put all those resistors back on, and that's kind of what I started with the infrared here. So this was one of the early boards I built, and I had various different problems, but once you try it a couple of times, you start to pick up a technique on building a particular board. So that's that. Now, I did say I wanted to show you one more idea I had, and that is ultimately that this board was designed to light up a dark area, but the advantage is I can put this board in to that dark area, and it's underneath the roof. I can hide the fixture itself underneath the roof. So what if I want to put one on a wall, on an exterior wall outside, and it's not under the roof, it's not protected? I need to waterproof it, or at least make it good water resistant, so don't worry too much about things going wrong. I mean, if we have sideways rain, we might as well have a hurricane. It's if you haven't bad enough weather, you can't protect for every last possible thing. You can make it more bulletproof than the house, maybe, but what's the point of that? So ultimately, I was thinking about it, and if I allow for not being totally waterproof, this thought occurred to me. I can use an exterior box, or actually I could probably use an interior box. It's just a plastic box. I don't have to get a complicated, expensive project box, plastic project box. I've done 3D printing now for another project, and so I know I can do the design and come up with something, but why go through all that effort if I could just buy like an old work electrical box? It doesn't have the hole in the back like this one does, but I just wanted to use the box to kind of check the size, and when I did, I realized this fits very nicely in a 1-gang box. So I might have to modify the circuit board slightly and order some more circuit boards, but that means I can put more lights outside the house. So what do you think? Let me know what you think of this idea. Ultimately, it wouldn't sit on top here. It would sit inside the box, which would make it considerably more weather resistant. If we get a lot of fog, which we don't get a huge amount of fog in Los Angeles. We do get some, but yeah, let me know what you think. And I think that's it for this video. I just wanted to diagnose and fix one of these, and there's so many fix-it videos out there, I figured, why not fix my own design? Take care. Thanks for watching.